Good morning. Today we're talking about black cloth. Black as in mourning. Black as in the sheep in Western Ireland that you often find beside the road, in the road. In the early 1980s, Carrie and I flew into Washington, D.C. for a business conference I was attending. It was a beautiful late winter day. Blue sky, very few clouds, moderate temperatures, just about 60 degrees. So we arrived, street shoes, light coats, ready to go to the hotel. And as we were exiting the plane, everyone kept saying, "Oh, have you heard about the big snow that we're supposed to get tonight?" Really? Oh yeah, there's weathermen are saying 2 feet or more. No, we hadn't heard about that snow. But again, blue sky, just a few wisps of clouds. Certainly, this was not a prediction that was going to come true. The next morning, we woke up and it was very strangely silent in the hotel. And when I lifted the blind, sure enough, it had snowed more than 2 feet. So the airport was closed, the Capitol was closed, the trains weren't running, even the Smithsonian was closed. The city of Washington, D.C. was shut down. We were not dressed for it. The conference hotel was next to Georgetown. So when we were finished with the business for the day, we started walking towards Georgetown in our light coats and street shoes. The first store we stopped at that was open because the owner lived upstairs had wooden Swedish clogs and very heavy woolen socks. That solved the footwear problem, at least for me. A few doors down, there was a Celtic shop, and they had this wonderful black wool, heavily woven, dense shawl from Ireland. So I bought it, and I wore it, and it was warm, and it was wonderful. And it reminds me of Jesus in Matthew and Luke, wishing that he could gather the children of Jerusalem up like a hen with her chicks. Or the psalmist in Psalm 91, for instance, who talks about being covered by God's wings. And that was the feeling that it gave. But this is also today a day of mourning, of grief. And so it brings to mind Mary, Jesus' mother. I found a poem in a book by Anne Weems. The book is Kneeling in Jerusalem. And the poem is Even Now. She stands beneath his dying and will not be persuaded to leave despite the urgings of the others. They huddle against her in an effort to hold her against the pain, but she stands erect, unleaning, her eyes upon his face. From the hillside, the sounds of weeping and wailing hang heavy in the air. But she who held him in a stable in Bethlehem stands silent beneath his cross in Jerusalem. Her heart pondering still, her soul magnifying the Lord, her spirit praising God, knowing even now that she is blessed among women. So, on Good Friday, I ask you to remember the warmth of God's wings and the grief of a mother with a black shawl.